This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 20 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network, presented by Equestrian Life, exclusive coverage of the world of dressage. We would like to thank our sponsors, Equestrian Life. They can be found at equestrianlife.com, and Kentucky Performance Products online at kppusa.com. This is Chris Stafford in Lexington, Kentucky.
And I'm Lisa Wilcox. You're listening to the Dressage Radio Show presented by Equestrian Life.
Well, hello, Lisa. How great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us. Not only is it your first time on the Dressage Radio Show, but you're also going to be a co-host for us here on the show. So this is great. I'm delighted. Welcome.
Well, what a pleasure. And I'm so excited about this program. I think it's awesome. You've got some fantastic people that you've interviewed, and what a way to get information live. We get to actually hear from Adeline Corneliusen or Robert Dover and get some of the updates, what's going on in the world.
Well, we try to.
So I'm honored.
We try to get the scoop, Lisa, and we, keep our audiences informed. You know, we started off earlier this year with Heather Blitz helping us. It was wonderful. Heather being, of course, based in Denmark, and now she's relocating to Florida. Just as you have done, and so we thought we would make some changes here. Well, as I say, Heather has got her hands full right now, so we've made some changes to our co-host, and every other week we're going to have you and Debbie McDonald. Of course, Debbie joined us last week, and she's going to take the chair on the weeks that the alternate weeks from you, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You and I have worked together in the past, so we know each other's foibles a little bit.
Absolutely.
And
I've learned from the best.
Well, I don't know about that, but we try to have some fun on this show, Lisa, and so what I thought we would do something quite different this week. Typically, we have a kind of a standard format with the show, and we include some news of the week, and and we kind of mix it up each week a little bit in terms of we get some wonderful guests, as you said. We've had fabulous guests, but since this is your first time, we thought we'd dedicate this show to you to tell your story, because you've had a very, very interesting journey. You're the one of the people that's made it. You journeyed to Europe, and you had a wonderful period there in Europe and got onto the team. And now you've journeyed back to the U.S. And so we thought we'd spend the time today on this week's show to talk about you and introduce our audience around the world to Lisa Wilcox. And it's quite a story. Do you feel you're getting settled into a new life now?
I really do. I feel like I've been around the world and back. And, when you land, you almost feel like a foreigner in your home country, because I was gone so long. And I had found it's taken me 3 years to establish myself here in the United States, and for the Americans to get to know Lisa Wilcox. And you know how big America is. Really, the only ones that have had a chance to really get to know me are the Floridians. And, of course, when I teach clinics, the places that I go, the country is very large. And so that's the big difference. In Germany, I think I'm face-to-face with the public pretty much every weekend. As you know, I was presenting the stallions either at stallion shows or I was showing them. And so you get to feel like you know everybody. But this country is still so large that most of the United States is still scratching their head and thinking, now, who is Lisa? We know she was in Europe and we know she came back, but there are still people that come to me today and say, did you move back? How long do you get to stay in the United States? And I'm thinking, been back for 3 years. But that just goes to show you how much distance there is in a country this size.
Absolutely, and I noticed also now you've lost your little bit of German accent you were picking up there, because your German is absolutely fluent. I mean, I was privileged to work with you during the World Equestrian Games back in Aachen in 2006, and I was so impressed at how fluid your German was, but and then coming back here speaking English, understandably, you carried with you a little bit of accent, but that accent's gone now.
It's really starting to dissipate. Although I continue with my connection with Ernst Tires, who comes over still regularly. He'll be coming over again for a clinic the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of November, and then as well as going back and forth for the Boucure photo shoots. But the fact that you're not speaking it daily, absolutely.
What we thought we'd do just to remind everybody what your story is, Lisa. Obviously, you were born here in the States. Tell us a little bit about those early days, where you grew up, and how you got into horses.
Okay. I was born in Phoenix, Arizona. My father, a pilot in the Air Force, and then eventually a pilot for United Airlines. We moved around a lot. And so we ended up in Colorado for a larger period of my childhood. And I can consider myself having have grown up there on a ranch with quarter horse thoroughbreds, cattle, all sorts of stuff. And learning in a Western saddle, learning basically bareback, actually, then Western saddle, then English, begging Mom to get us an English saddle. And she'd work her buns off and get us these big old 18-inch saddles. And if you can imagine a 9-year-old, 10-year-old girl and her little buns and an 18-year-old jumping saddle, 18-inch, excuse me. And then we eventually got to join the Pony Club. And I was responsible for hauling my sisters around at a relatively young age. As soon as I got my license, my father was, okay, you load them, you drive them. Yes, sir. I am going to learn this because I want to take them to the Pony Club rallies and all those fun things that we would do in the summertime.
That's great. So you were in Pony Club. Which Pony Club was it, Lisa?
It was Storm Peak Pony Club in Larkspur, Colorado.
Great. And what a wonderful start that is. And of course, I grew up with Pony Club in England, and we've talked to a lot of Pony Club people here on the different shows here, and they all say the same. It's just a wonderful foundation, and it's so much fun, isn't it? You know what? They teach the kids horsemanship.
Yes. And that is, for me, priority number one. You need to know how to take care of your horse before you go out and start showing and looking, before you take them out and show them. You need to know how to care for them, how to feed them, how to keep your tack clean, how to be responsible and respectful of your equipment, your horse, and everything you do in that aspect with your animal. And I feel like that's what they really give kids, a responsibility to respecting what they're doing with these animals.
Yes, and I think that's, increasingly important as ever, isn't it, with these days, with the children having so many choices, and it's so much a disposable consumer society that, and you see a lot, and I'm sure you do, teaching your students, Lisa, how people come into the sport at a later stage in life, and they haven't had the benefit of learning horsemanship up through the ranks, and they don't have an appreciation for general stable management.
Absolutely, or even understanding the mannerisms of a horse.
Right.
So that's where you get the fear, and then and misunderstandings between communication of the amateur and the horse. And so my job is to be the person who deciphers or explains. Now, this is what your horse was thinking. You may have thought bolt, but he's not bolting. He's this or that or the other. And so, it is difficult the older you are to find that or it's not even a compromise, but to find the courage to get through these things. Where as a kid, we'd fall off. You're made out of rubber. You get back on again. And the fear factor is very small. It's all about getting on and getting over that fence again.
Absolutely.
But the older we get, we're a little rickety. Can't afford these accidents. And so but you know what the key is? Good trainers find matching horse people combos.
Yes.
Horse rider combos.
Yes. That's the right horse for the right
rider. You're going to start, exactly. If you're going to start later in life, then you need to find the right partner.
Yes, absolutely.
Very important.
Absolutely. Well, you clearly got off to a flying start then. You were careering around the Pony Club with your sisters. You had two sisters, were both in Pony Club?
Yes, I had two sisters as well in Pony Club, and we had probably the prettiest rig you've ever seen. It was a bright orange Chevrolet truck with a maroon stock trailer. So wherever the Wilcox kids went, boy, things lit up. And off came our little quarter horse thoroughbreds. Crammed in there like polo ponies. But anyway, it was a good time. Our tack was clean. Our hair was very neatly.
Well,
fun.
This is a great visual, Lisa, if you don't.
Trust me. Told you I said, when I get older, I'm going to have a really nice-looking truck and trailer. I swear to God. So, anyway, I do. But it's taken a few years.
Oh, that's funny. So how did you get transition then from those Pony Club days into pure dressage? Did you do the eventing, hunting?
I did eventing. I kind of then wandered into the eventing, which is very natural coming out of Pony Club, and then got accepted to Colorado State University up in Fort Collins, Colorado. And a good friend of mine was going to school up there at the same time, and he had some really good event horses, and allowed me to help him in the evenings. Obviously, after studying, we'd go out, and then he had like 4 event horses up at school. Heck yes, I'll help you. And as it is, got connected with a doctor in Denver, Colorado, who had a farm and a bunch of event horses, warm bloods actually. And I then started to have a job for that guy in the summertime, in between school, when we'd have our vacation, our summer vacation, our break. And by about the 3rd year, he asked me if I would stay, rather than just do summers, if I would stay. And that was a huge decision. Finish school or really stay here full time and really get into the eventing with these horses. And I did that. My mother wanted to kill me. And it paid off. What I ended up doing, I was eventing these horses. I only got to the level of preliminary. They were, unfortunately, I had one, his name was Bilad. I used to call him Swedish Meatballs, because we'd get everything. The dressage was good. We would fight to make the time preliminary. And then stadium was, as I say, Swedish Meatballs. His big old hooves took about every rail out there. And, but then I had some others that were lighter, Holsteiner, and was moving right along with those guys when I decided, it's really not about the cross country and the stadium, it's about the dressage. And I started to look for really good dressage training, and that's when I ran into Jan Ebeling. Chris?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Jan, who's based, of course, in California.
When that started. Yes, and so I met Jan Ebeling at a dressage show, and then asked if he would start to help me with some of my eventing horses. And sure enough, one thing led to another, and we got married. But we went out to California together a little later, out to Sandstone, which is out in Hidden Valley, which is Westlake, California, and got married out there, but worked together for Dr. Salad. And, then we decided it would be a good thing if Lisa went to Germany with his funny boy and trained with Herbert Rabine. This would be good for business. And then I could start to begin to have my own clientele and so on and so forth. If it would all be that easy. So I went over to Grandeldhof, Herbert Rabine's farm, in the northern part of Germany, Hamburg, and I sat there staring at Jan Brink, Kira Kirkland, Lyda Strike, all these riders riding around me, and here I am on this little funny boy, And I would sit on the wall. I'd have my ride with my horse. Herbert would get on, and I'm telling you, he'd do Passage, Piaffe, One Tempe, and I would get on, and I thought, it felt as if someone had put hot air balloons on Funny Boy's hoods. The Passage was huge feeling suddenly. The horse was so elastic. So although I did not speak German then, the goal was to watch what he was doing. Okay, I'll figure this out. I'll watch him. Well, Herbert Rabine sat about as still as a statue up there. So you couldn't tell where this horse was getting an impulse. I didn't see his leg move. I didn't see a butt cheek wiggle. Nothing. And so it was a lot of learning with your senses, because I had my eye sense and my feeling sense, which ended up to be a blessing. I didn't have the language to help me. So I would watch and I would feel, and then I'd get on again. I'd watch and I would feel and try to make an understanding of it for myself. And I got to be very lucky, because he would see me very, very patiently standing on the wall, and then all of a sudden it was, Lisa, go get blah, blah, blah. I was out like a dart. He'd asked me to go get another horse to warm up and ride. That was in his stable already. So I'd run down, help, which horse is this? I got to get it ready now. And all those riders would help me. They'd find the horse for me. We'd get the saddle, get the tack, and boom, off I was into the working arena. And then he'd drill One Tempes and Passage and specific things with these specific horses. So I think he recognized a patient eagerness standing on the wall. And because I only had one horse, I would just stare at Kira riding, or Karen Rabine on Donner Hall, if you can imagine, and Don Primero, those stallions back then.
Oh, well, yes. I mean, yes, there's a real eyeful there, and it's fascinating how that story, unfolded and introduced you to Germany. Well, we're going to take a short break here, Lisa, for one of our sponsors, and then we're going to come back and hear the rest of your European adventures. So hold tight.
Okay.
We will be back in 1 minute.
It is fantastic to have our friends at Equestrian Life as the title sponsors for the Dressage Radio Show. If you have not been to Equestrian Life yet, you need to go. In addition to being the official social community for the Horse Radio Network, it is one of the fastest growing horse communities on the internet. It is truly the Facebook for horse people. The goal of EquestrianLife.com is to bring equestrians together and to provide them with the breadth and depth of information and tools they need to learn and connect with other horse lovers who share the same passion. EquestrianLife.com is a fun, inviting website that strives to provide its members with a world-class experience that fosters the expression of all the ways people enjoy their horses and the people who are part of the horse world. EquestrianLife.com's social media platform provides users with cutting-edge applications and tools, such as people and horse profiles, social Q&A, status updates, messaging, photo uploading, groups, comments, blogs, expert high-definition videos, directories, birthday reminders, alerts, messaging, and on and on and on, in addition to their partnership with the Horse Radio Network. This community is designed by horse people for horse people and is filled with educational and entertaining video and audio all about our horses. Ride on over to Equestrian Life today. Sign up for free and tell all of your friends. If you love horses, EquestrianLife.com is the place to be.
Lisa, coming back to your European adventure, so after your experiences at Ryburn, then what happened next? Where did you go from there?
I went back home. I was allowed to stay over there. I think I was over there for about 2.5 months, almost 3. Then I came home, and I'll be really honest with you. I had the feeling I was never going to learn that in America. And I told Jan I've got to go back. And so for lack of I had no reason to divorce him, nothing. And I just said, I want to learn this. I'm sorry. I want to learn this. And so off I went. Our divorce was finalized, but Herbert Rabine had gotten me a job in Denmark. So I went back to Denmark first. And I think this is when you get to test what you're all about. I felt horrible about the decision I'd made. many people, including my family members, had said, you'll never make it. You're going to come back home. And I guess that's the part of me that just grew horns and said, you want to bet? So irregardless of how lonely it got and how guilty I felt, I couldn't have been in a better place. I think Denmark had more snow than it ever had since 10 years. Me leaving this balmy California to this snow. And I was riding an arena where the snow would blow through the cracks in the wall. The footing would ball up as ice in their hooves. So I rode with a hoof pick and like a Eskimo suit. And I would ride and ride and ride. And there were lots of sales horses, lots of rank animals, lots of nice stallions, but it was just a combination of everything. And sit there and sometimes cry thinking, oh my gosh, what have I done? But the stubborn part of me said, keep going, you're going to be fine. Keep going, you're going to be fine. Well, 6 months into this, I got a job offer in Germany. And it's interesting. I have landed at breeding facilities. It's not like I looked for them. I was looking for the first person who would take me. And apparently, breeding farms have a hard time finding riders. So those were the first people out going, sure, we'll take you. She gets on anything. And so I got a job at Gestutra in Zealand, just south of Hamburg, about half an hour. And again,
could you speak any German? Could you speak any German at that time, Lisa?
No, I still was hunting and pecking for words. And the guy that I worked for in Denmark could speak German and Danish. His wife could speak a little English, and me with my English going, oh boy. So we'd do a lot of sign language together. We'd drive around in the truck taking the horses, the stallions to stallion shows, just kind of sign languaging it. So I kind of got a feeling for looking into people's eyes, guessing what it is they're talking about. And, but anyway, so I got to the job in Gestutra in Zealand, had lots of great stallions, Condor M, who I qualified for Bundeschampionat. And then I had Weltberger, who had been 4-year-old, won Bundeschampionat with Holger Finken. And then I had Per Gunt and Donizetti. And this is where I got my Bereiter. I took my Bereiter exam there. Mm-hmm. And I also got my license to collect and inseminate. Collect stallions and inseminate mares.
You see, not everybody knows this about Lisa Wilcox, that you have that license.
No, they don't. It's got some licenses to kill. I'm kidding. I just thought, okay, I'm a woman in Germany, and I need certification. And I was going to do everything they did. So I did. And I happened to work for two ladies that were doctors. They were x-ray specialists. So they were very keen in getting these degrees for me, in a sense. They wanted to make sure that I did have these licenses. And that was the support I got there, and that was fantastic. I spent 2.5 years there. And then I took a break from that facility because it ended up being, I just had the entire responsibility of the farm. It was a very large farm, and so I was collecting stallions, intimidating mares, managing the entire farm, and then trying to get the horses ridden at the same time. So the day was never long enough. And at some point, I just ran out of my ever-ready battery just went click off. So I took a break. I went up to a friend in Hamburg, rode with him for 6 months, just helping him out, and I thought, I'm not going to start back up until I have a position that I at least start where I left off. And guess who comes and taps on my shoulder at the World Equestrian Games in Pferden? Gudula Vorwerk. Mm-hmm. I am at a stand getting a Coca-Cola, or I believe, and a friend of mine is off getting some ice cream. And it's a nice summer day, and somebody just jabs a finger in my right shoulder. I jumped. I turned around. And I see Gudula Vorwerk. Who does not know who Gudula Vorwerk is because of Rubenstein, Rhodiamont, Royal Diamond? I looked at her and she says, are you looking for a job? I said, I could be. Of course I am. But I thought, don't act desperate. So she says, okay, and she makes a date. She gives me a telephone number. Actually, we make a phone call. I'm supposed to call her, and then we're going to arrange a date. Well, I do arrange a date and bring all my riding equipment and nervously drive down to Gestutvorwerk in Keppern. And I got out of the car, and that is a family event. They want to see, everybody on that farm wanted to see who this interviewed jockey is going to be, and if she even makes it. Everybody had a say in it. So I'm looking at aunt, I'm looking at Gudla's aunt, Gudla's mother, her husband, all the employees on the farm. So we have a conversation, and I said, I have my boots. Would you like me to ride? And apparently they weren't even going to ask me to ride because I was working for a Gert. Let me just say, Gert Rietbroek was a judge in the region that would come and help me at Gestut Randzealand with the stallions. And when she lost her rider, Martina Hanover, he said, I have the perfect rider for you. So it was word of mouth. And he said, and I know she's not riding for this farm anymore. You should find her. I'm not sure where she is, but she would be the perfect rider. And that's when it started. And so they looked at me and they said, well, sure. And they pulled out Rodiamont. And Rodiamont had just won Bundeschampionat.
Well, there was a challenge for you. Were you nervous?
Well, I'm looking at the stallion going, oh, I'm about to sit on a Ferrari. Now my heart is pounding, and I'm thinking, oh, you know what? If I don't get the job, at least I can say I have ridden Rodiamont.
Yes, so, exactly. At least you'd have some takeaway.
You know, exactly. So I'm like, calm down, and ride. So I got on, and I rode him, and got off. Nobody says anything. You know, the Germans don't smile, don't give anything away, the poker face. So I thought, well, guess that didn't go over too well. Well, no, they want to talk to me still. Okay. So we go up to this room, and they go, so this will be your living quarters. How much do you want? I said, huh? I got the job. So, and that was then 7 years at Gestutvorwerk, and that was my absolute highlight. It was a fantastic 7 years between Rosier, Rodiamont, Royal Diamond, Relevant, Friedensfürst, Danny Wild, Ruby Nero. I can name at least 15 stallions that I presented there and rode and made a career.
Absolutely.
Made an absolute career.
And it really was. Yeah, the highlight of your career there. And, of course, Relevant took you to the World Equestrian Games in Jerez and many other things, too. Are there any real special moments there that you could pull out of that period that you were at Gestutvorwerk, Lisa, that really will always stick with you?
Definitely. My highlights at Gestutvorwerk were Bundeschampionat, winning it as a 6-year-old with Royal Diamond, being the FIZE champion as a 5-year-old with Royal Diamond, and then winning it as a 6-year-old with Royal Diamond was huge because the Bundeschampionat for breeders is it. And that's where stallions are. That's where they are titled, right there.
And from there, of course, you then went and had a short spell in Switzerland before you came back here, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I spent after Athens. And I did with Relevant. Another highlight was winning Stuttgart. So I have my name and flag is up in Stuttgart in the indoor hall there.
Right.
And then also going to Hickstead and being individual silver at the Open European Championships, as we just recently experienced the wonderful European Championships that I was able to do as an open and individual, and won the silver behind Ola Salzgeber. Individual.
Yes, well, absolutely. That you've really been up amongst them, and obviously come away from Europe with an amazing experience and as well as memories, and some wonderful partnerships. I mean, that has obviously helped you enormously. But you've mentioned to me in the past, Lisa, you still had to come back here to the States. Being American, you were known and got quite a reputation. Obviously, not only just being in Europe, but being on the team as well. But you still, because you were not based here, there was a large section of the population here, the dressage population, who still weren't familiar with Lisa Wilcox and as a rider based in this country. So tell us about that transition coming back here, which was, 3 years ago?
Yes, it'll be 4 years this coming March, but right now 3 years, yes, coming on 4. Unbelievable. But, as I gained the respect of the Germans through my years of, and I also then got my instructor's license. I went on to get my instructor's license and my truck driver's license. So I gained the respect of the Germans. I had to do that here in America as well. It was not enough, which it shouldn't be also. It wasn't enough for me to be successful over there and then come back. They were still waiting to say, well, wait a minute. No. Who are you? And so I built myself back up here, introducing myself back slowly into the equestrian world. And going there the first year, of course, I couldn't have competition horses right away. I just rented a 12-stall barn, this is how I started, and filled it with whatever I could fill it with. And what I filled it with was a lot of clients who wanted to show themselves, which I realized, wow, this is already very different in America. People aren't looking for riders to ride their horses. They are looking for you to train them to be successful at shows on their horses. So that first year was teaching others to be successful in the show arena. I sat on the sidelines. The second year, I decided, guess who needs a horse? Lisa does. A very good friend and I of mine partnered with me on my own personal horse, which is a Passionel. She's a Dutch warm-blood jazz mare, and she's about I2 right now. So I realized right away, you need to have your own horse in America. Then the next year, I partnered up with Janet Bell and Tom Benson. They had the mare Naomi that I was able to qualify to the selection trials in San Juan Capistrano for Hong Kong. But it was a very quick round. I think we had less than a year to get her Grand Prix finished, and I went over for 3 months to train with Ernst, came back, hit all the qualifiers starting January, February, March, and throughout. Made it by the hair on my chinny chin chin. I think I was exactly 12th, and then ended up being 8th overall in the country, which it was a run. It was a run for my money. It was going to be a heads or a tails, and I knew I was going to be short just to reach that. But I gave it a go, and I think that's where I kind of got my foot back in the door by USEF, who is now recognizing that I am back. I'm out there trying to get horses for myself to compete. And by the third year, I moved into Toonie Page's farm, which everybody knows. She has a beautiful farm in Wellington. She's a very successful rider herself. And I'm now there with Robert Dover, Odette Shimoni, Toonie, and myself, and we have a ball together. It is so professional. We're colleagues working with another and enjoying each other and helping each other. And in the meantime, I have gotten a hold of fabulous horses. I have 2 Lusitanos from Ingrid Lynn that are going both Grand Prix. I have received a 72% on the Quebec in the Grand Prix. And as I heard today, I am, I think, 3rd in the country on that one. I think Ravel is number 1, and Ashley Holzer's Pop Art is number 2, and Quebec is 3.
Wow.
Now, this is hearsay. He has about an average of about a 69%.
Well, that's terrific. So you've got the horsepower now, Lisa, and you also, of course, do a lot of teaching, don't you? So you over the past few years, you'll have built up quite a clientele there in Florida. Yes, I have. And it's just getting to know how America works, how the equestrian world works here. And I've realized how it works, and I'm fitting in. I'm making it work. And I think we're all, I'm really enjoying Toonie Page's place. I've got some great riders under my, in my program that work for me, some great working students that are showing some of the horses. And, I've partnered now with High Life Farms, which is a farm up in Orlando, another breeding farm. So I've got lots of stallions. I work very closely with all the various breeding organizations because we have beautiful mares from Westfalen, Holsteiner, Oldenburger, et cetera, and I feel like the circle's closing again. I'm going right
back to that Stukovec feeling.
I was going to say that you really have come full circle now. So what would you say your ambitions are now at this point in your career, Lisa?
I am working toward the World Equestrian Games because I want to see Chris Stafford up in Kentucky.
Well, there'll be a lot of people waiting for you.
And I'm telling you, I've got, not only do I have these two very talented Lusitanos, I have De Euro. He won the Bundeschampionat as a 4-year-old in 2000 with Johannes Westendorp. And he hasn't been shown since he was 5 years old, and Joan bought him off the elite auction in Fechter. He was the most expensive horse off that auction, and now nobody's seen him. So he's kind of my little secret. And I've just started taking him out intermediate too, and he's pretty special. So that is also one that I'm kind of secretly bringing behind the Lusitanos, and we shall see.
Well,
we shall see, but I've got a barn full of fun future.
Well, it certainly sounds exciting, Lisa. You know, we'll be following you keenly now, especially you as your co-host on the show, and you'll be here every other week and be able to bring us updates with what's happening with those horses back home and how, you know, you're progressing towards that goal of team selection again. It'd be great to see you back on the team. So, you know, we look forward to that. We're going to take a short break here for a commercial, Lisa, and then you're going to give us a tip of the week. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
Oversupplementation can be a problem, and not every horse needs a supplement. But when they do, you can count on Kentucky Performance Products to provide scientifically formulated, research-proven products that target specific challenges facing your dressage horses. Developed to complement, not compete with a balanced diet, KPP supplements will enhance the well-being of your horse. Kentucky Performance Products, helping you keep your horses healthy, sound, and competitive. You know, dressage horses sweat. As they sweat, horses lose water and vital electrolytes. Summer Games Plus Electrolyte Paste mimics the composition of equine sweat, supplying your horse with the exact amounts of electrolytes he needs. But what makes Summer Games Plus really unique is that it also contains Nalox antacid. Nalox protects your horse's stomach from the negative effects of stress. This extra protection is especially important for horses exposed to stressful situations such as competition, transportation, and unfamiliar stabling. Summer Games Plus is packaged in an easy-to-use syringe, making administration fast and accurate, especially at shows. So when your horse is on the go, keep him at the top of his game with dual-action Summer Games Plus Electrolyte Paste. Brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products, helping you keep your horses healthy, sound, and competitive. Visit them at kppusa.com. That's kppusa.com.
Well, thanks again to our sponsors, KPP USA, and please visit them on their website as well as Equestrian Life and give them your support as you make your choices. Without them, these shows would not be possible. And Lisa, now coming to your first training tip of the week here, there's a price to pay when you come on this show. We do learn from you as well. We're looking forward very much to you giving us a training tip each week. So what have you got for us this week?
It's going to sound very simple, but it is something I learned in my 12 years in Europe. This is the one thing that Ernst Hoyers was able to help me to understand. But it's the longer you take, the faster it goes. And my point would be, take your time in the training. You want the goal is that they understand what we're doing. And if we take our time and correct ourselves, 9 times out of 10, it's our mistake. And when we ask correctly, they'll understand. So don't get in a hurry. I understand we all have dates and things that we'd like. Don't let the show calendar rule your life. You rule that show calendar. And if he's not ready or she's not ready, they're just not ready yet. So my tip would be just simply take your time.
I think that's really good advice, and I think, you pointed out that, often we look at the show calendar and we focus on that being our target, when really, maybe we just need another week, maybe another 2 weeks, maybe even longer. But I
and
think,
you know, I'm the queen of scratching. Enter it. You can certainly enter it. If it makes you feel good, enter it. But don't be afraid of scratching. It is simply, if it's, you want that horse to have the best experience he could possibly have, because it's a learning experience. A bad experience learned takes a long time to correct. So make it a good experience.
absolutely, and I think to consolidate what you're enforcing, to reinforce and consolidate that. So it's like a building block. It's like climbing a ladder or building the foundations of a house, isn't it, Lisa? You've got to have the foundation absolutely solid before you can start to build. Because if you build too fast, the house is going to topple over eventually if the foundation isn't secure, right?
Yeah, think about those 3 little pigs, huh? We all wanted to move into the brick house, but it's not. When that wolf came around, everybody wanted into the brick house.
Well, I think that's good advice, Lisa. So that's our training tip of the week, and we'll look forward to the next one, Lisa. So I'm sure you've got plenty in your head. You could just come up with them all day long.
Oh, yes. I got some fun stuff.
Good. All right. Well, we look forward to that. And we're just plain running out of time here, Lisa. It's been a lot of fun. We really enjoyed having you as part of this Dressage Radio show. And we want to remind everybody that you can follow our show notes at dressageradio.com. You can send us your feedback. You can leave a voicemail at 270-803-0025. You can email me at chris@horseradionetwork.com. And if you have any messages for Lisa, or you have any questions, you want to ask her a training tip, please send those to me, and I'll make sure that Lisa gets those, and we would love to hear from you. Don't forget that the Dressage Radio Show has a fan page on Facebook. We're very keen on Facebook and Twitter here at the Horse Radio Network. If you follow us regularly, you'll know where to find us. At Twitter as well, you'll find us at Horse Radio, and that link to the Facebook fan page can be found on our website too. We would like to thank our sponsors, Equestrian Life and Kentucky Performance Products. You can visit them at kppusa.com. And Equestrian Life, of course, is the official social network of the Horse Radio Network, and they can be found at equestrianlife.com. Well, next week, Debbie McDonald's going to be back in the chair and keeping your chair warm for you, Lisa. And she's going to be, as she joins us next week, we're also going to be talking to Isabel Wirth. I'm going to have a chat with Isabel and hear about her impending birth of her first child and how she's been spending these past few months. Very exciting for her. So we're looking forward to that. That's going to be next week on the show. And
Exciting.
That's very exciting, Lisa. And of course, in the meantime, that's going to be a couple of weeks before we hear from you again. So tell us what you're going to be up to. Are you showing next week?
I will be doing the regionals in 2 weeks. 2 weeks we have the regionals here in Florida, so cross your fingers. I've got the 2 Lusitanos going, and then my other horses are going in the open classes.
Terrific.
So keep your fingers crossed.
Terrific. So you're going to be plenty busy.
I'll be plenty busy.
All right. Well, it's been so much fun having you here, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, everybody, for listening. And
it's been an absolute pleasure, as usual, Chris, to work with you.
All right, terrific. Well, thank you so much, Lisa, and we look forward to speaking to you again in 2 weeks' time. And that's all we have time for this week. So until next week, thanks for listening, everybody, and enjoy your riding.